Welcome, I'm Bruce Frantzis, and the past two videos have given you an idea of what openings and closings are in terms of the physical body and the cavities inside the body that generate qi. And one point about openings and closing, which I think is useful, is that most things in life, and as a matter of fact, most things throughout the universe open and close. On the biggest level, a star system, a sun. When it really, really opens, it explodes and goes supernova. And when it really, really closes, all the energy sucks back in and creates a black hole. Your blood vessels get bigger and they get smaller. They open and they close. They go out and they open. They close when they come back to your heart. So this is a very important thing in all of Taoism. And I want to share more about the meditation segment of the training circle now. In Taoism, there is a flow. In the spiritual side of Taoism, or let's just say, if nothing else for people, the stress relief side of Taoism, or the emotional betterment side of Taoism, there is a constant flow between opening and closing. So, for example, if we would take the most classic thing, one is anger and fear. Well, when you open with anger, you open, you go out. Rah! When you close with fear, and there is this constant, you don't get anger without fear. Okay, they're both going on all the time. You don't get any emotion of extreme happiness without somewhere, as a result of that, you're starting to get a flow of extreme sadness. You don't get a flow of self-confidence without having some kind of commensurate lack of self-confidence or I'm no good type of thing happening. But when you get these two things really moving, the qi that is inside your body and your mind moving, then you don't get stuck on one end or the other. It is normal to have your emotions open and close. It is not normal, it is not healthy for them to get stuck on one side of the spectrum. And this training circle will try and do something to help so that you can have practices that can help you not to get stuck. Again, just as some people get super depressed, some people get super angry all the time. And the fact of the matter is that, what's the phrase? Everything in its own time and place. And that's what we're looking at. Now, in this program, we're going to go step by step through a whole lot of meditation courses that'll basically be one for a month about important points to do with this subject and how you would practice them by yourself. Again, these may be things, some of them may be things your meditation teachers have taught you, or things your meditation teachers haven't taught you, or some things that your psychotherapist has taught you, or some things your psychotherapist has not taught you. This is the Taoist one, and I've actually not seen many of these points, all of them being taught by any particular group in the world. This is Taoism's unique perspective on meditation. Now, if we look at things in meditation, the first thing is that the first stage is you're going to have to recognize when your mind is going into a yang state or yin state. You just have to recognize it. So if I would just make a simple thing, we'll do it for a bit because, again, the program takes a year to have this thing roll out. It's not something that you can just kind of go like that. Okay, physical things are easy. You can see physical things. You can imagine that blood is moving through your body. But the mind's a little bit more tricky. Okay? So if we look at this, just sit up straight. And the first thing you want to do is just for a moment, pay attention to your breath. Now in your breath, you do two things with your breath. Usually, you inhale and you exhale. When you inhale, you're doing a yin action. When you exhale, you're doing a yang. Air's coming in, air's going out. So just do this for a bit until you can have your mind settle a little bit. This thing has come, every form of meditation does this in one form or another. Then we'll go into the Taoist thing. Now for a moment, just follow the flow of your mind as you're inhaling. There is some quality about it that's changing. And when you're exhaling, there is some quality about it that's changing. Now just begin to notice that when you go out, think about anger. Just for a moment, think about something that really, really pisses you off. And just notice that in that breath, that beside the breath moving, there's something else. And that's the energy of your anger. That is the energy that is below what you're going to manifest when you flip out. And then going the other way when you inhale, you take your breath into you. Recognize the energy of what it means to feel helpless, hopeless, depressed, sad. Because it will have a certain type of feeling to it that will be different than was when you got angry and you were blowing up the world, as it were. And just start going back and forth, back and forth. And then find the place where they just kind of come together for a second. And just pay attention to that. Because this is going to be a starting point of doing opening and closing meditations. So you need two things with opening and closing meditations. Chinese term is Taiji, yin yang, yin yang. The place where yin yang join, where they join, the place where they're all born from. Two parents join and create a baby. Baby is not the parents. Even though, shall we say, many teenagers have problems with this issue. Fact is, the yin and the yang come together, and then a new thing comes out, which is a baby. So now, let this in and out, let it just come together until you arrive at this point. And that point in Chinese philosophy is called Taiji. It's just a name. Okay, you want to use the word spirituality, you want to use the word whatever you want. But this is where they start, and it's at that place where emotional difficulties can be resolved. And in the steps that go through this and how you use that's going to be inside this training circle. The purpose of meditation, and I would say that I come now from the old school of what it's been for thousands of years, because I've heard things called meditation that, honestly, from the inventions people are coming up in the New Age movement, I don't know if anybody would know what meditation was, to tell you the truth. But most of the old school stuff, the stuff that lasted for a couple of thousand years, and produced really great people, and there are certain things about meditation they all held in common. The first thing is that the phrase is, the mind is a wonderful slave and a terrible master. Your mind can help you think about all sorts of things, put a rocket ship in the air and make computer code, but it also can torture the living hell out of anybody. And so one thing about meditation is to get somebody over the mind's ability to torture them. The next one is that we all feel very, very, very disconnected and separate. And that affects us emotionally in ways you can't imagine, and mentally in ways you can't imagine. I mean, the sense of feeling disconnected and separated is the source of people feeling contempt for each other and contempt for themselves, which is very common these days. It's also basically the way that the marketing systems lies the living hell out of you, quote unquote disinformation, and tricks you into believing what they want is what you want. It would be nice to know actually what you want, and then you might have a slightly better chance of actually getting it. And the other point is that meditation is something that should be taken into ordinary life. When you go to the toilet, if you're doing a Tai Chi move, if you're talking on the telephone, if you're having sex, if you're taking a walk down to the corner store, or you're playing with your dog. These are normal life events. These are things that you don't have to be anything special to do. They pretty much come with the human package. So meditation is about smoothing all the stuff that allows you to do all those things and be together and not have your mind causing you troubles, or having your mind become paralyzed, or having you always either running away from things or wanting to deny them, and all that type of stuff. So meditation, I think, is a very important thing. It's very helpful. And I mean, I've done it for 60 years. But at every step, if you want to go farther into all this universal enlightenment stuff, well, that's a long journey. I mean, it's because you start looking for the things that are really much deeper at what it means to be a human being or what a human being can be. But here, we're just looking for the easy stuff. And so I hope you enjoy this program, and I hope you get a lot out of it.